The entire restaurant went silent when my future mother-in-law slid a thick folder across the table. She smiled and said, "If you truly love my daughter, you'll sign this prenup before dessert." Everyone watched me. My fiancé looked nervous. Her family looked confident. Even the lawyer uncapped his pen, expecting me to hesitate. Instead, I smiled. I signed every page without reading a single word. The room exploded with smug laughter. But then I calmly reached into my briefcase, handed her another folder, and said, "Now it's your turn." Her lawyer opened it. His face instantly lost every drop of color. The next 5 minutes destroyed every assumption they had ever made about me. I had been with Emily for almost 3 years. We met through mutual friends, built a relationship slowly, and planned a future together. I never bragged about money. I drove an older sedan, wore simple clothes, and kept my business life private. I believed people should know me before they knew my bank account. Emily always said she loved that about me. I had been with Emily for almost 3 years. We met through mutual friends, built a relationship slowly, and planned a future together. I never bragged about money. I drove an older sedan, wore simple clothes, and kept my business life private. I believed people should know me before they knew my bank account. Emily always said she loved that about me. Unfortunately, her mother, Diane, never believed I was good enough. From the day we met, she made subtle comments about my clothes, my watch, my apartment, and even my job. She assumed I was an average office employee who couldn't provide the lifestyle she imagined for her daughter. Every family dinner felt like another interview. Still, I stayed respectful because I loved Emily. The rehearsal dinner arrived the night before the wedding. Friends and relatives filled the private dining room. Everyone was laughing until Diane stood up, tapped her wine glass, and announced she had one last wedding detail. She placed a thick folder in front of me. "A prenuptial agreement," she said proudly. "Sign it before dessert." The room became silent. Some guests exchanged uncomfortable looks. Emily whispered, "Mom, not now." But Diane ignored her. "If he has nothing to hide, he won't mind." The lawyer sitting beside her nodded confidently. I slowly opened the folder. Dozens of pages, one-sided conditions. Almost every clause protected Emily while leaving me with virtually nothing. The lawyer waited for me to argue. Instead, I smiled, picked up the pen, signed every page, without reading another line. Diane laughed. I knew he'd fold. Several relatives smiled as if they had just won. Then I reached into my leather briefcase. I actually brought something too. I handed Diane another folder. "My attorney suggested we prepare this just in case." She looked confused. The lawyer opened it. Within seconds his smile disappeared. He reread the first page, then the second, then the financial disclosure attached behind it. His hands actually began shaking. He quietly looked at Diane and whispered, "You need to stop talking." She frowned. "What do you mean?" The lawyer swallowed hard. "This changes everything." Everyone stared. Finally, he looked toward me. "Sir, are these documents accurate?" "Completely." Inside that folder were verified financial statements, showing that I owned several successful companies, commercial properties, investment accounts, and family trusts worth far more than anyone in that room imagined. I had never hidden it. I simply never talked about it. The lawyer immediately understood what Diane didn't. The prenup she demanded could actually expose her daughter to unnecessary legal complications while offering me almost no protection. Ironically, the wealthiest person in the room was the one everyone had underestimated. Diane's confidence disappeared. She looked embarrassed. Emily looked shocked. "I never knew. I never wanted money to define us," I answered. The lawyer carefully closed the folder. "I strongly recommend we postpone this discussion." Diane suddenly tried to laugh. "Oh, this was all just a misunderstanding." I shook my head. "No, it wasn't. You believed my value depended on my bank account. You wanted to humiliate me publicly, and you almost succeeded." Emily stood quietly for several moments before speaking. "My mother owes you an apology." Tears formed in Diane's eyes. For the first time since I met her, she had nothing to say. The dinner continued, but the atmosphere had completely changed. People who had ignored me all evening suddenly wanted to introduce themselves. Relatives began complimenting my career. The same people who doubted me now wanted conversations. Nothing about me had changed, only what they believed had changed. The following morning, before the ceremony, Emily and I sat together alone. She apologized for everything. I told her my issue wasn't the prenup. Reasonable prenups protect both people. My problem was public humiliation disguised as concern. We agreed that respect had to come before marriage. Together we asked independent attorneys to create a fair agreement protecting both of us equally. Weeks later, Diane apologized privately. She admitted she judged people by appearances her entire life. she said. Watching her lawyer panic was the moment she realized how wrong she had been. I accepted the apology, but I never forgot the lesson. Sometimes people reveal their character long before they discover yours. That rehearsal dinner wasn't about money. It was about respect. The richest person at the table wasn't the one with the biggest bank account, it was the one who stayed calm while everyone else rushed to judge. Never underestimate someone because they choose humility over showing off. Character is revealed when people think you have nothing to offer.